everybody, I'm the Redstone Warper here, and today I have a brand new farm that I've never seen before that I conceptualized. This is a 18,000 obsidian per hour farm that is in the overworld, and it does not require any end platform, so you can build this anywhere in the world. The way this actually works is by actually using lava buckets placed in here and turned to water by these 5 water sources placed around the wither, which is in this wither cage here, and which turns the lava into obsidian. At the same time, it shoots a snowball from this dispenser to damage the wither, causing him to enter his block break ability and break the obsidian, which is then collected by lava minecarts, comes down here into this dropper system here, which then flows into the storage system. Now, of course, this farm does require that you have a 18,000 lava bucket per hour farm connected to it, which I am working on, but was not able to complete very quickly. So I will give you the first part of this farm, and the second video will contain the lava farm so that we can put all of this together and run this 18,000 obsidian per hour farm in the overworld. Now, as you may notice, it is connected up to one of Elmango's automatic snow farms, so that it can restock the snowballs automatically. So the way I have set this up to work is when this chest gets empty, it will turn on the farm. When this chest becomes full again, it will turn it back off to reduce the amount of lag. Because this snowball produces 40,000 snowballs per hour, and that's just a little bit fast for our farm here. This farm actually only needs about 2,020 snowballs per hour in order to run. Which means if you want to, you can just have stacks upon stacks of chests here to store a whole bunch of snowballs. But I like the idea that this farm could be run completely infinitely as long as you put enough storage. Of course, when running this farm, when connected to the lava farm, the player will be busy collecting lava buckets as the cauldrons are going to circulate around the farm, and be fed into a shulker box loader, which will then fill up these chests. These chests lead into a 2x shulker unloader that I designed, and you can find a video about that on my channel, as well as a schematic in the Discord. This will unload all of the boxes, putting them in here, and taking all of the lava buckets and filling up this chest, which then distributes lava buckets to all of the dispensers. The next part of this farm revolves around these item filters here, which remove the empty buckets from the dispensers so that they never will spit out. So what happens is when a lava bucket is dispensed, the bucket gets immediately taken out so a new lava bucket can take its place. These buckets are then sent down around here, and then will go into a shulker box loader, which will load them back into boxes. Now the way I've set up this farm is so that the shulker boxes full of buckets will go back to the lava farm to be unpacked again and sent to the player to scoop up more lava. The empty lava boxes will also go back to the lava farm to be filled up with fresh buckets of lava so that they can cycle around back into the farm again. And of course, the empty boxes that the buckets are being packed into will come back from the lava farm as it unboxes them again. This way we can have a whole bunch of buckets and lava in the system at the same time, and we don't need to continuously pump in more and more shulker boxes because they're all getting cycled around. Of course, this makes it so that the only thing that you have to do is fill this with plenty of empty shulkers so that you can get all of your nice obsidian and store it in the chests below. As for how it operates, the clock is extremely simple, just this small comparator clock, which we just put the activation down here so it's easy for the player, and that activates the whole farm, where this goes into the snowball dispenser and the rest powers these dispensers. Now this farm is extremely stable. It uses a completely safe wither cage in order to encase the wither, and then we use this regenerative wall here. So if we just go back into mode and break some of these, the lava behind it will flow out, reproducing the cobblestone, making it so that even if a random blue skull comes, it won't destroy the farm, and you're not putting a whole bunch of them in lazy chunks that, if you try to load, might crash your game. Of course, I've also added some lighting around here to make sure that it is 100% spawn-proof, and the lightning rods are so that you don't have to worry about lightning striking your boats and freeing the wither, or striking the minecart and ruining the TNT duper. Of course, you could put a nice big platform of glass on top to prevent this as well, but the lightning rods just look cool and I needed an excuse to use them. So all we have to do to turn on the farm is flick that lever, which starts the clock, and if we just go into spectator mode so we don't mess anything up, you can see the obsidian respawning as it gets created from the obsidian, and the wither destroying it as soon as that happens, as the snowball continues to fire. Now, this farm could potentially be sped up just a little bit, but the problem with that is if you damage the wither too fast, he starts trying to aggro on other things, which means he might try to aggro on the player or these snow golems over here, and cause him to shoot off blue skulls in random directions, destroying the farming process and eventually freeing himself. This wither cage is a pretty standard wither cage that's been being used recently, where you have 3 boats stacked up on top of the wither to keep him from flying upwards, and because they're boats, he cannot break them with his block break ability, and he is targeted on a golem which he's trying to shoot at, so he's also flying forward, keeping him trapped between these fence gates. These fence gates are important above something like a cobble wall, because they will create this full hitbox to the hopper and the wall, versus a wall will not connect to the hopper, making it so he can kind of wiggle around anymore. And while this is generally not going to break it, it is extremely disconcerting. Now, there will be schematics in the description. There will actually be 2, one with the wither already spawned in, and one with the wither ready to summon. That way, if you just want to test it, you can just spawn it right into your world from the schematic, and if you would like to actually do it in survival, you have the schematic with all of the stuff placed in the proper positions. Now, the summoning of these withers can be kind of tricky, so I will be showing you how to do that in just a little bit, as it is a little bit different than how you would do it with a standard wither cage, because obviously you have some redstone and water and some random things here that you might not always have. Okay, so you've just finished building the farm, except you haven't placed in the boats and you haven't built the wither. It is very important to make sure that you chunk align this farm so that the wither and the iron golem are in the same chunk, so that when you reload it, the wither can always find its target. Especially, and you also want these snow golems to not be in the same chunk as the wither. That way, no matter what, which the wither can't see them anyways, but just to be extremely safe, make sure these guys are in the same chunk. Now, what you're going to need to do is there's a couple modifications you're going to need to do. So we're going to go ahead and try and do this in survival here, so that you can see how it would be done. So before that, you want to break these blocks because you're going to need a path to get out and in. So what I would do is just place a couple extra blocks like this so that you can get up. You'll temporarily want to remove that lightning rod, and you're just going to add some extra walls like this. You're going to want to grab another block, and you're going to want a slab on top of that block. And we'll go ahead and, so this is the setup that you're going to want to kind of do to do this in survival. So you're going to kind of exit through here. Now, so what we're going to need to do, so this is kind of the stuff in your inventory that you're going to need. And actually, this is probably a good idea just to have some armor as well. Just to make sure that you're as safe as you can be. If you have totems, I would recommend those using 2. But theoretically, you shouldn't actually take too much damage while you're trying to do this, but you know, things happen. Alrighty, so we're in survival mode now. Got myself just a set of netherite armor just to protect me a little bit. Totems, probably a good idea. A good source of food. And the one thing that you probably really do want is an efficiency 5 pickaxe, because you're going to have to remove some slabs really quickly so that the wither doesn't blow everything up. It is a little bit of a stressful process. So in survival, what you'll want to do is you're going to come up here, place a boat. Oh wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. First, you need to place in some slabs. These will be protecting the boats from the initial explosion and keep them from falling down. So the wither is going to spawn in the center here. So we actually do need to remove this water. These minecarts are going to probably move around. I put these in after spawning the wither. So actually we'll go ahead and we'll just leave them for now and see if they're going to get in the way. We're going to remove those 2 sources of water. We're going to get rid of these minecarts. I'll show you how to put those in afterwards. So it should look just like this. It might be helpful just to put some stone there just to keep the water from flowing in everywhere. So the wither is 3 blocks high, so 1, 2, 3. This is where the wither is going to stand. So this is the level that you need to place the slabs on. And so you're just going to make a ring around like that, and you're going to put that there. Now put an extra slab there. This is where we're going to place a water bucket here after spawning him in. Get rid of that, so now we can place our boats in. Now, I recommend putting 4 boats in, 1 extra, because sometimes, but not all the time, so the weather can actually break one of the boats. So you're going to do this. You might also want some ender pearls, but we'll just see if we end up getting stuck. Get the second boat in. Make sure it's kind of in the center there. Alright, so far not getting stuck, that's good. But if you do, just ender pearl, or you can actually place another boat and jump into that boat to get out. So that is 3 boats, and we're just going to give Portland boat. We're just going to put 1 more in, because sometimes he can break it. The first thing I always check once it looks like he's good is just to make sure that there's 3 boats. We put an extra 1 in, so that way if he breaks one of them, we still have 3. So we got all that in. So now it's time to actually place our soul sand. So you put the middle block here, and your soul sand like this, and now these blocks are in the way. So we actually have to remove these blocks in order to spawn him in, and we actually have to place them back after. So if we're careful, so this water is going to try and flow in. So we're going to get rid of that. That has all of our lava in it. That shouldn't cause a problem. You probably won't have lava filled in this system yet anyways. So we're going to break all these. Now we need to make sure that the water isn't flowing in. So we're going to place some slabs like this. So at this point, we place 2 of the wither skeleton skulls. So all we have to do is place 1 to spawn it. And what we're going to need to do next is place a little cross pattern of stone or cobblestone, or pretty much any block will be fine as long as it's got at least some blast resistance. But I recommend just using stone. And we're going to create this little plus shape on top. And then, of course, when we spawn him, the water goes here to keep him from blowing stuff up. Now, you're going to wash some of this redstone away. That's just going to happen. And you're going to have to put it back afterwards. So, double checking that our iron golem is in place. We want to kind of reorder our hotbar here. Alright, so making sure that we have all the important stuff in our inventory here, we're going to just double check that this square of slabs is here. This protects the boats from the explosion. We got this block to place the water up against so that we can click it properly, and everything looks to be good. So what we're going to do is we're going to place this here, place the water, get out of the way. Then we gotta come in. As soon as he explodes, remove the extra cobble wall, remove this. Boat's flipping out, that's fine. Okay. Oh, he saw me, so we're gonna get out of the way. Alright, you can see he's firing up his storms over here, so that's good. Alright, so we're gonna remove this water. So far so good. This boat got out of the way, that's why we need extras. We're gonna carefully remove this boat. Then we want to get behind the wither, because standing in front of the skull's hidden, the box taking damage and possibly dying, will damage stuff around the farm. So we want to carefully remove those slabs. Make sure the extra, probably want to remove this extra pillar first. Before the testing things up for in the test world, so that you can try to survive through the freedom, so that you know exactly what you're trying to do. Remove these blocks. That water's going to flow, that's okay. We're going to place the water bucket there with our speed. We're going to get 2 blocks, because those are going to get in the way. Now, what we need to do, we need to place this slab back, and waterlog it. Place the other slab back, and waterlog it too. Now you want to block out this water, and break those blocks in. Get that to work. We're just going to do that. It should be okay. So then we're going to place our dispenser back. Okay, so it's filling up with lava like it should. Where we should be able to put the redstone back. This slab right here. Block off the water. It should put it back. And then put the last redstone. Oops. Put the last redstone. So now everything is set up correctly in survival. These made all the water sources from. Alrighty, I am extremely sorry for the scuffed audio versions and things, but for the re-recording of this clip, I have just turned off the sound completely. So I need to show you how to get these minecarts in here. So we're going to punch these guys out, so I can show you that real quick. Of course, this is completely safe to do in survival, as I showed the whole spawning process. These minecarts, you get in here before you spawn the wither. They're inside the fence gates. That's pretty easy and straightforward. The best way to get the hopper minecarts in is to get a slab, and I actually discovered this while trying to do it a second time for the video. Place it down here, put the minecart in, break the rail, slide straight down into position. It'll kind of move around, but the fence gates will hold it where it needs to be. And you just do this for this side. Now this side you can also just place a block up here and it's fine. The dangerous part was in front, but using a slab like that, it's pretty safe. You don't really have to worry about the skulls hitting. Now you got two options. If you got an elytra, you can kind of sneak by here. You don't really want to walk in front, but I mean, if you do, you got to time it right. But the best thing is just break some of this to get to the other side, just so you don't have to worry about it, because you really don't want this thing to escape. So we'll do that, and now they're all in place to get that one inside. And I think actually you can probably sneak back through here if you want. You can actually probably just put all of the minecarts in from this side, now that I think about it. Now, some general things to keep in mind is you need to chunk align this. So as you can see, the chunk that the actual wither is in the same as the iron golem, and the snow golems are not in these chunks. That way, when you load the wither, you also load his target so that he doesn't try to target anything else. Also, when you're spawning in the wither, my recommendation is to build the basic wither cage without any of the other contraptions around it to spawn the wither, so that if he does escape, you didn't just destroy all of your progress. You kill the wither, you try again. Once you get him safely in there, then build the rest of the machine up. That way you don't have to worry about it getting destroyed. And then, of course, spawn the wither, then put the golems in, just to be safe. And you really want to practice this in creative before you ever try to do this in survival. So I think that's about it for today with this obsidian farm. The next video, I will build a lava farm capable of supplying this obsidian farm with enough lava to keep it going, and hopefully even two. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching.